Hello everyone. Today we are going to see the guideline when we want to answer the AS level business assessment. Last time we have learned the syllabus for AS level. This time we are going to see how are we going to structure our answer for AS level examinations. So first, let us review again the assessment objective in AS level. We have knowledge as AO1, and then application is AO2, analysis is AO3, and evaluation is AO4. We have discussed it when we tackle the syllabus. So today our main focus is the assessment itself. We have to see and we have to know how to answer each particular question that will be asked in the assessment. First of all, we have to know that we have two papers, and for today our main focus is paper 1 first. On the next time we will be discussing on paper 2 as well. So paper 1 is a short answer and essay question paper. It is 40 marks. It is worth 40 marks, and it consists of two sections. Section A is the short answer, while section B is the essay. That's the first thing. And it is divided proportionally. Section A is 20 marks, section B is also 20 marks. So half short answers, half essay questions. For section A, 20 marks, it has 4 questions. Question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4. And each question 1 is 5 marks. Each question is worth 5 marks. Question 1, 5 marks. Question 2, 5 marks. Question 3, 5 marks. And question 4, 5 marks. Each question is worth 5 marks. For question 1, 2, and 4, it is divided into 2 sections, into 2 parts. So there is 1A and 1B, 2A and 2B, 4A and 4B. Okay. While question 3 only has 1 section. Question 1, 2, and 4 has 2 sections, or 2 parts, while question 3 only has 1 part, 1 section. Question A or 1A, question 1A, 2A, and 4A is 2 marks, and it requires candidates to give a definition. Fixed already for this question is a definition. So you can guarantee that it will be a definition. It will not be something else, but it will be a definition for sure. You can guarantee that. While the question 1B, 2B, and 4B is 3 marks, and it requires candidates to explain briefly a certain concept. It will be a brief or short explanation worth 3 marks. Therefore, target answer would be around 3 sentences, 3 to 4 sentences, because it's 3 marks. So minimum of 3 sentences would already be fine. While question 3 only consists of 1 part, and it is worth 5 marks. It requires candidates also to explain briefly a certain concept. Actually, there is not much difference with question 3 and question 1, 2, and 4. In question 1, 2, and 4, they divided the question into 2 sections. They have the definition and they have the explanation. For question 3, since they combined it into 1 question, into 5 marks question, the strategy would generally be the same. You would be defining also, you can define or you can give a general definition or general idea of the question being asked, and then you can explain it. Usually they will award 1 mark for definition that you give. They can give you maximum of 1 mark, maximum of 1 mark if you give a definition, and the remaining 4 marks should focus on the explanation of what is being asked. So this is for section A. It's not too difficult. Let us see the example. So I want everyone to have an idea of the exam paper itself before we go into the content further. So let us take from the past paper, paper 1, short answer and essay, the same like what I'm saying. The code for business is 9609, paper 1, 1-2, paper 1, variant 2, type 2, or variant 2. This is past paper from May or June 2019. I purposely find past papers which is not too old, so it can be still relevant for our studies. Duration of this paper is 1 hour 15 minutes, as I have mentioned before during the syllabus discussion. In section A, we have to answer all questions, while in section B, we are only required to answer one question. We have two options for section B, and we can choose one out of two options. Advice from them is we should not be spending more than 35 minutes for section A. Now let us focus on section A, short answer. We have to answer all. As I mentioned, questions 1A, 2A, 4A is define. Define can be anything. Define business, define motivation, define demand, define supply, define production, define finance, define leadership, as what is being asked here. This can be any definition. The key to be able to successfully answer this definition question is for us to master the definitions given in our textbook. All definitions that are in the box, that are in a separate box, these are definitions and will be asked in question 1A, 2A, and 4A. Sorry. Will be asked in questions 1A, 2A, and 4A for definitions. While for question 1B, 2B, and 4B, as I mentioned, it's a briefly explained question. It's a briefly explained question. So we will be asked to briefly explain certain concepts. Usually questions 1A, 1B, this is one set. So whatever is asked in 1A, they will ask a follow-up question in 1B. Whatever is asked in 2A, they will ask deeper understanding into B. So it's more of a one set, actually, one package question, but then they separate it into part A, definition, part B, brief explanation. Let's say briefly explain two non-price factors which could increase the demand for a product or service. There, you are only asked to explain two, but you are given 3 marks. That is why your explanation should give an example. That is why your explanation should give or should have an example, because you are only asked to explain two. So if you only give two explanation, and without the application or without having any examples, usually you are limited to get a maximum of 2 marks. If you want to get 3 marks, each of the factor needs to be explained plus example. Okay, plus example or plus the implementation or application that you can think of. Same thing with this one. Briefly explain 2 styles of business leadership. Same thing. 2 styles only, but you are given 3 marks. And the last one, briefly explain why a business might choose flow production as a method of operation. Same situation also. But for this one, it's more of a reasoning. So there is not asking of how many style or how many factors or how many types, but they're asking of reasoning. Explain why a business might choose flow production as a method of operation. Therefore, you can mention 2 ideas also, even if they don't say it's 2. Generally, they are expecting 2. If you are mentioning 2, okay, if you're mentioning 2, then you can then develop that knowledge or develop that idea, develop that concept, and providing the examples will complete your marks into 3 marks. That is for questions 4B. While for questions 3, the difference is there is only one question with the keyword explain. Explain how the interest of 2 stakeholder groups could affect the decisions of a business. Directly 5 marks. In this question, question 3, strategy would be you can have a definition first. Define the stakeholder. Stakeholder is all the people or parties or individuals that have a direct interest with the business activity. You can define, you will get 1 mark. After you define, and then you will explain. Choose the stakeholder group first. Let's say you choose customers or managers, let's say, and you explain why the interest of customers and managers could affect the decision of a business. And of course, don't forget with an application or example. Without the application example, you would get a reduce or you will get a reduction of 1 mark. So you not get the full, but you'll get a reduction of 1 mark. Always with the examples. With the little more you can give about that concept. Not just the theory, but a little bit more detail that you can give to that concept. That is for part A or section A for short answers. We go back to the other file. Now we look at section B. It's also 20 marks. It's also 20 marks. So candidates only need to answer one question out of not three. Let me change it to 2 options out of 2 options, because 3 options is the old syllabus. Since we are going to take the examination by next year, which is already year 2022. If we count it on May, June, that is already 2 years from now, 2023. That means that is the start of the new syllabus. In the new syllabus, we will only be given 2 options and we have to choose one. We have to choose one out of 2 options available. We just need to answer one question. We have questions 5 and 7. Now 5 and 6 for now, because there is only 2 options. Usually 5, 6, 7. Now we only have 5 and 6. We have questions 5 and 6, which is divided into 2 parts, part A and part B. Question A is 8 marks and focuses on analysis skills. So it focuses on analysis, which is assessment objective 3, with the command word analyze. Usually the question will say analyze, blah, blah, blah. Generally, candidates are required to present the advantages, disadvantages, or impact of a particular concept with a business context given in the question. Based on the business context given in the question, you will be asked to present advantages, disadvantages, or impact of that concept. But of course, you need to see the business context that is given there. As for question A, while for question B, it is 12 marks and focuses on evaluation skills, which is evaluation is in assessment objective 4, AO4, evaluation skills. If you want to have evaluation, you need to have a strong foundation of knowledge, application, and analysis, as I always explain in the classes. So you have to have a strong foundation for the knowledge, application, and analysis to have the strong evaluation. The command word or the instruction of the question usually is mentioned as discuss. Here we are expected to give our judgment or decision. We are asked to give our opinion or judgment or a decision that based on the available alternative. So based on the available alternative, we are asked to make a decision, but make sure we should have a reason argumentation. This question is similar to question A, which requires a strong analysis to be written before any evaluation can be made. So before any evaluation can be made, we should have a strong analysis. We should be presenting the advantages, presenting the disadvantages or the pros and cons of each concept and the impact of each concept to the business. After we have presented, that is the moment we can make the judgment or decision. And as we always say, never repeat in the evaluation. Do not repeat what has been discussed. Do not repeat what has been discussed in the analysis, but you have to make a judgment based on the points that you presented. But based on the points that you have presented, you must make a judgment, not repeating the points, not summarizing the points, but for the evaluation or for the conclusion part, we need to make a judgment or decision based on the analysis that is given. That is the unique thing of evaluation. While this one on the bottom, we have question 6 consists of one part. We will not have this because we only have 2 options for the new syllabus, which is question 5 or question 6. We no longer have 3 options. Okay, so that is for part B. We have 2 options. We choose one. Questions A of part B is 8 marks and questions B of part B is 12 marks, with each one focusing on different assessment objective. Question A is focusing on analysis, while question B is focusing on evaluation. Question A is usually the easier one because you only need to analyze. You only need to present the advantages, the disadvantages, or the impact of a concept to the business. Of course, with the context or with the situation given in the question. Okay. Let us see the examples now so we have a clear understanding. The examples in section B, we will not have a 20-mark question. So if you see here, we have one question, which is 20 marks. We will not have this anymore as an option. They will remove it. So question 7 will become question 6. So 5AB, 6AB. No more these kinds of questions, 20 marks will be removed from this paper in the new syllabus. Let's see the example of 5A. Analyze the advantages of crowdfunding as a source of finance for small business. So as I mentioned, now analyze the keyword or the instruction, the command word, and then you are asked to analyze the advantages. So in this case, advantages of using crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is one of the finances or one of the source of finance available for small business. Because it is 8 marks, expectation from us is to have 4. Because it's 8 marks, so the expectation is to have 4 ideas to be analyzed, or at least 3, minimum 3, preferable if we can have 4 ideas to be analyzed. Okay. At some occasion, if you have 2 ideas only, it's also fine, but you have to analyze it deeply. If you have only 2 ideas, only 2 advantages, but you can present the analysis in depth or in detail, it's also acceptable. As long as you can build up a chain of analysis, you can build up the analysis, it's also fine. But be safe with 3 or 4 ideas. To be safe, we stick with 3 or 4 ideas. Well, question 5B is financial measures are the most important indicator of business performance. Discuss the few. 12 marks, evaluation. First procedure, always present both sides first. Present first financial measures as the most important indicator, and after that, you make the contrary. You make the however points. You make the contrary, you make on the other hand or however points. You make the other point of view, which states that financial measure is not the most important indicator of business performance. And in the last part, you will evaluate, you will give your judgment whether it is the most important or not. You'll make a judgment. And judgment is not only one sentence decision or not just one sentence judgment, but based on the points, based on the analysis points that you have presented, you need to really make a judgment based on argumentations. So your judgment should be based on argumentations to re-emphasize and to assure that this is the best view or the best decision for the business. So that's the difference between 8 marks and 12 marks. But upon starting your answer, when you want to begin your answer, the introduction or the first part, the first 2 sentences or the first sentence of your answer, it's almost the same. You can begin with the definition also to show that you have a strong knowledge. You can begin with the definition to show that you have a strong knowledge. For example, you can begin by defining what is crowdfunding. And you can give the impact or the plus point of crowdfunding for small business afterwards. So start first with setting the ground, defining crowdfunding, defining small business. So you have shown, and the examiners or the teachers, me or the Cambridge examiners will know that you know the knowledge, that you have a deep understanding of the knowledge. So define first crowdfunding and small business. For the B questions, the same. Define first what do we mean by financial measures and what are business performance or what are indicators of business performance. So when you have defined, when you have shown sufficient knowledge, that's the moment that the knowledge will be considered as full marks, or they will know that you have a strong understanding. Question 7, last question here. Analyze the impact of social enterprises on the development of the country. As I mentioned, question A, not always advantageous. Question A of part B, 5A or questions 5A or question 6A, it doesn't always show, or it doesn't always ask advantages or disadvantages. Sometimes it can ask the impact. It can ask what is the impact of social enterprise on the development of a country. It can ask the impact of a certain concept. It can ask the impact of a certain concept on something. So in this case, they are asking the impact of social enterprise on the development of a country. Again, same strategy, 3 or 4 points is encouraged so that you can elaborate the analysis completely and gain the full marks. While for 7B, the purchase of an internationally recognized fast food franchise guarantees business success. Discuss this view. Again, same method, same strategy. Is the purchase of an internationally recognized fast food guaranteeing or not? You would say that yes, it guarantees, and you will explain why it guarantees. And after that, you would make the contrary argument. You would make the counter argument that it does not guarantee, and you explain, elaborate the points why it doesn't guarantee. That is what we mean by discuss. So you're discussing two sides of a certain question or of a certain concept. In the last part or in the conclusion or evaluation, you would be what? You would be making the judgment whether purchasing internationally recognized fast food franchise guarantees business success. Now you would be making the judgment with the reason argumentations. So that will be the strategy or the method part. If you pay attention, part A and part B, or questions 5A, 5B, they are gearing or they are heading towards the same topic. The topic for 5A and 5B is finances, and also 7A and 7B, the topic is more on business structure. 7A and 7B is more on business structure, on social enterprise, on fast food franchise, it's more on a business structure. So even though they divided into two questions, actually they have this pretty much the same idea. It's just that they are asking a different question. So you need to be very clear on that. So that is the strategy when we talk about part B questions or the essay. And if we compare essay with the short answer, the short answer would be the easier questions. That is why it's always encouraged that you master the definition and you answer the questions in the part A well, you can already gain the necessary marks, or you can already ensure that you have obtained the necessary marks, and then after that you try your best for section B, because this is a longer answer. This is the questions that require longer responses. So that will be the guideline that can be given for the AS and A-level examination, particularly for paper 1. And in the next time, we will be also discussing the guidelines for paper 2. So that will be for now. Thank you.